she still like look at my story like on Instagram and stuff like that.
Okay,
Like,
nobody
like the
cares.
first one
Stop.
yeah, okay.
Nobody cares. Somebody looking at your story or liking your picture, none of that matters. Social media is non-committal. Nobody is as confident as you think she is, especially if she's attractive and she's a bad chick. Or prettier they are, the lower their self-esteem is. I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man.
We went on a couple dates, and she was really attracted to your boy. She started getting a little finicky with the texting, and the last time I saw her, we used to work at this lounge, and we went there for the anniversary, and she came there with, like, her girlfriend, then another guy came. Right, and I think they're dating. Now I think they're talking now. But
okay, so when
like
she came with the girlfriend and another dude, but you think you're saying that she was with that dude?
Yeah.
Okay.
She still like look at my story like on Instagram and stuff like that.
Okay,
like,
nobody
like
cares. Stop.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody cares.
Gotcha.
Here's the first thing you got to understand, and I say this all the time. Somebody looking at your story and liking your picture, none of that matters. And let me be clear why. Because social media is non-committal. We know social media is non-committal because people get catfished on social media. Somebody could be hitting you up, DMing you, it could be a dude in the basement, right? We've seen this, but that's not even the point. The point is the fact if she's not committed to checking for you. Now, do you know for sure she's dating this new guy?
I don't know for sure, but I had texted her, let's talk outside. Like, I was just like, to like get to talk to her outside. She said, I got company.
Yeah, well, she's dating this dude.
In the lounge was basically.
Yeah, she's dating this dude. So, but my point is, your question is she keeps liking your pictures. Okay, so what? What does that mean? And so Here's my question. What's your question? What are you asking me?
Should I take my ball and go home, or should I just try to keep trying to pursue?
If I asked you, what do you think? What would you say? I
said, I do what I've been doing. I just cut communication.
Right. So, like, here's the thing. You got to understand something. Sometimes a girl will check in on the social media or like your pictures or whatever, or even text you, right, to tell you how great they are, right, Dom? Because they just want to feel it out to make sure by dumping you, they made the right decision. Nobody, how do I put this? Nobody is as confident as you think she is, especially if she's attractive and she's a bad chick. All of them, everybody, the prettier they are, the lower their self-esteem is. Because the first thing is that what gives you real confidence is what you do, not who you are. You know, so a lot of times you have attractive women that have no personality and they've been living off of their looks, and they know guys like them because they look good, right? And they will women will rub that in the guy's face, or they'll use it as a way to kind of shit on them, right? But when it comes down to it, right, what happens when you're not attracted to them? What happens when you don't think, when she's not your type? She has nothing else to fall back on. And that's everybody. That's a good-looking guy. That's anybody. So again, there's this behavioral representation of how people work, human beings in general act this way. So if you said she was finding your boy attractive, whatever, you went on a couple of dates, and then so this was a misconception. I mean, yeah, she was into it.
You said the texts were finicky. What did you mean by that?
She said they became finicky.
Became finicky. What do you mean by finicky?
I mean, like, I would get the double texting, and then she would answer to like the next day, or she would like, the
half-assed, uninterested, yeah.
Detachment. Yeah. I think she started losing interest when we had a couple of dates and she was interested in trying to have sex and stuff. But
So you didn't sleep with her?
I didn't sleep with her.
Okay, so why didn't you if she was trying to? You saying she was
I was
trying?
inviting her to my home, but she was like, nah. I guess she was just like, nah. Nah. I should have rated the defense and been like, let's go to a hotel. But
So she wanted you to. Sex was on the table and you just didn't make it happen.
Right.
So you said, well, come over, and she was like, nah, I'm not coming over.
Nah.
But how did you know she was initiating? She wanted to have sex. What made you think that? What did she say?
Well, pictures, text.
So she's selling you nudes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when she said she didn't want to come to your house, you didn't, like, what did you do? Just let it go?
Well, she would be like, I said, like, I come over the house and she would, like, not respond or, like.
You mean in person? She was just non-responsive. She was very cold.
No. Over text. Like I would like tell her to come over, and she was like,
okay,
you know.
But if she didn't want to come over, did you ask her, hey, why? Did she explain why she didn't want to come over?
No, she didn't.
Did you ask her why she don't want to come over?
It's too far. Houston is like a big city. So.
Okay, but would you have gone to see her?
No, she's adamant of like nobody coming to her house.
All right, so did you try to? Okay, let me keep this in mind. Here's something I want to say. A woman will find every reason why not to have sex with you, right? Until she has sex with you, and then she has to come up with every reason why she did have sex with you. Do you understand?
Right.
Because once she's crossed that line, there needs to be a justification for it. Right? Nobody wants to have buyer's remorse or whatever. So if you don't take when they giving it up and they're open, when you reject it, they take offense to it.
Mm.
I had a girl. She she stop by and see me, and I visited her, and I was like, what you been up to? She I figured I'd come down here and suck your dick, right? If you love what we're doing here, go to patreon.com. It's the best way to support us, and check out all the bonus content.
That's right, patreon.com/manschool202. We do weekly bonus episodes. We do listener mail, dating tips, and also, if you love the show, you can go back to the archives starting from episode 1. All the episodes will be there at patreon.com/manschool202.
Now, look, I got a Jeep Wrangler, right? I'm 58 years old. It's just no room for somebody to suck my dick in the
Jeep Wrangler.
In the Jeep Wrangler. So I was like, yo, all right, but I didn't really, I was chill. We hung out, made out a little bit, whatever. But I didn't close the door. But the minute I didn't close the door, she said, I feel like, I just let my attraction to you just kind of wane because of the fact that you just seemed like you weren't interested. Women do not take the rejection quick. So that's the first thing. Because then but this goes to the fragileness of their own confidence. But the other thing is that when you get that door, when the door is open, it's just like the defenders on the defensive line
in a football game.
You got it.
Door is only open for a little. That gap is only open for a little bit before it closes up.
Yeah. And then once it closes, now she has to see, because now she has to have a conversation with herself, and she has to say, why wasn't I worthy? And women don't want to ask that question, because you got to look at yourself in a real way. And the same way guys will, she keeps liking my pictures, or guys will go like, the same way that guys have that insecurity about, well, she said she liked me, or she said you got to understand that as human beings, we're all not confident about it. I mean, and that's the thing about man school, about the principles that make you confident, because you have something tangible to hold yourself on other than just I'm out here doing whatever I do. Like, if your life is intentful and your direction is intentful, then somebody who doesn't see that you are important doesn't matter, because you know that you're important by the direction that you're moving and the intentfulness in which you move forward. So, but this thing is, you also got to understand, is like, if you ever see somebody go fishing, like trout fishing or whatever, once they get a nibble on the hook, what's the first thing? I talked about this before. What's the first thing you see them do? If you see these bass fishermen, they yank the line. Why did they yank the line? It's because you sink the hook in.
So the fish can't slip away if the line is in, if the hook is in like halfway. Yeah,
it can't just be like hanging out, just sucking on a hook. You gotta sink it into so that the interest is there. And so when you get the attraction, you have to access that, and you gotta close that deal when you close that deal. Otherwise, you leave it open, and then there's all kind.
Okay. So there's a couple things that were happening here, and I don't know all the details of it, but it's interesting. When you asked her, when you felt like it was getting very sexual, and you asked her to come over, and she said no, and then you asked her to go, okay, so then maybe I'll come over to you, and she said no. At that point, you just got to stop responding to her, and then when she goes, hey, what's up?
You go if you think she would have went to a hotel?
I haven't done that option. I haven't.
So you never asked, and so you didn't go. So what's up? What you want to do? You didn't ask that.
Yeah.
You just kind of let it go. Yeah.
I just kind of let it. I didn't want to feel like I'm pressuring nobody. So,
yeah, but you're not. I mean, if she's sending you gooch pictures, you're not pressuring somebody. She's clearly, yo, what's up? You know.
Yeah.
Now, if you if you say what's up and then she says I'm not interested, then it's clear. Then the line is clear and you can move on. You know what I mean? See, the problem is.
You saying now? Oh, you saying now or like?
No, I'm saying when it happened, you got to be clear about what you. And if you're not sure, you can go, what's up? Yo, what's up? Where we at on this?
You could always just stop. You don't, I guess guys always feel like they have to do a thing without pressuring, but maybe let me try to sneakily get an answer. And all you have to do is stop and go, hey, what's the deal? Well, whatever it is, what's the deal?
Here's the problem. They're not being honest. What they're doing is they're trying to strategize.
Right.
They're trying to come up with the right way to ask so that they don't get rejected. They don't get rejected.
Right.
And the bottom line is that's where the pressure is at. That's where you're pressuring somebody because you see if you feel that you deserve, that you're worthy of this scenario, you just say what's on your mind. Hey, what's up? What are we doing? And if she says no, you don't get mad. You just kind of move on. And if she says yes, then you're in. But then there's no gray area. There's a lot of times that women don't want to, they don't want to commit to it, and you don't want to lose. But you got to be you're playing to not lose, which is the problem. And then once she moves on, then you have to say, look, in your mind you should be like, my intention was not platonic, and so okay. It's okay that you don't like me, but moving on. But you also have to ignore the likes and the shares and the saves, your social media, because all of that is a buffer to real intimacy.
And also, you see each other at the club and you go, hey, let me talk to you outside. If she wanted to talk to you, she would come up and talk to you. That's the interest.
Not only that, but the fact that she came with a dude, if she came with a dude and she would have definitely, if she didn't want you to think that it was something that it wasn't, even if she was fucking with him and she still wanted to keep her options over, she would have approached you. You gotta understand, people do what they want to do. If they're not doing it, this is why I tell dudes all the time, don't ask a girl to be your girlfriend because she don't want you to. She doesn't want to. If she hasn't mentioned it, it's because she doesn't want to. Yeah,
a woman will let you know. They'll let you know.
So that so I just think that you don't have an option. Like the only option you have is to pursue somebody who's not interested in being pursued.
So it's done. Just leave it alone. Don't, it's just don't contact her. Yeah. Because it just reeks of, unfortunately, desperation or, you're trying to rekindle something that she's not interested in.
It's nothing to rekindle. Yeah. So I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't.